Hey guys, I welcome you all to Bhadra IAS Academy. In this session, basically, we will be starting a very basic and a very extremely important topic in geography, I would say. Because see, geography is undoubtedly, we know that it's very vast, right? But to start geography, we need to know the basics of geography first, right? Otherwise, it becomes very, very difficult for us to answer the questions, right? So, the basic starts with this very topic, that is latitude and longitude. What do we mean by latitude and longitude? What are these lines? Now I'll show you one of the world diagram, right? Just see the diagram of the world. There you will be analyzing what latitudes and longitudes are. See, this is world. This is basically a 3D world, as we can see here. See, do we know that this is equator? If this is earth, then equator basically surrounds the earth from all the areas, right? So yes, this is kind of, right, equator which is surrounding the earth from all the regions, right? Parallel to equator, if I talk about, there are different imaginary lines, right? And parallel to equator in southern hemisphere as well, there is many imaginary lines. These imaginary lines are called nothing but latitudes. All right, so latitudes are what? Just see these parallel lines. See, this is one line, right? This is another. But if I take a 3D map of the world, then these lines are surrounding the earth from all the regions, right? Similarly, this line is surrounding the earth from all the region. Similarly, this line surrounds the earth from all the region, right? Similarly, in southern hemisphere as well, these lines, what they do is that they surround the earth from all the regions, and these parallel lines to the equator are called latitudes. Is that clear? Right. But if I talk about what do we mean by longitude, we know now that this is north pole, this is south pole. See, do you know that earth do the rotation? So when earth is rotating in a particular axis, that rotation creates the point around which it rotates that is called the axis of earth. And the axis, the point at which the axis intersects the surface of the earth, that is called north pole. North pole. And the point at which it hits the south axis is called south pole. All right, right. So this point is called north pole and this point is called hamara south pole. So what we are observing is that the earth does the revolution around sun, but at the same time on a daily basis earth keeps on rotating along this point, and these are along the polar regions. All right, now the lines, the imaginary lines which are connecting north pole to south pole, north pole to south pole, north pole to south pole, these are called longitudes. Is that clear? Right. So I will make this diagram animate. Just see this, what this is. Can you see that there are different parallel that are being made, right? And of course, from north pole to south pole, many lines are intersecting. These all lines are longitude. But at the same time, if you see these line ka parallel lines, these are called latitudes, which are covering the northern as well as southern part of earth as well, right? So we have seen this. And if I talk about the north pole, what is the north pole? See, this point is north pole. Can you see that? I've made it rotate, right? Just pause it clearly. Again, if you want to see the video, you can watch it. But yes, you need to know about the fact that which one is north pole. And below this, in the southern hemisphere, you get to see the south pole. Is that clear? And we can clearly see that yes, these are the imaginary lines. So basically, what we have come to the conclusion is that these parallel lines to the equator, these are called latitudes, and these lines which are joining from north pole towards south pole, from north pole towards south pole, They are called longitudes. Is that clear? So, in a nutshell, if I talk about what latitudes and longitudes are, latitudes and longitudes are not any real lines. They are absolutely imaginary lines. They are imaginary lines which determines the location of a place on earth. Because if, for example, you are staying in Guwahati, right? You want to go to the airport. Of course, you will see the Google map, right? But you know what? Google map will take you to any Guwahati, or for example, you are living in Dimapur, or for example, you are living in New Delhi, right? You want to go to New Delhi airport. So, of course, you need to click the basically the place where the New Delhi airport is. So Google Map will guide you till there. But how Google Map is finding that? Because Google Map is finding the latitudes and longitude of that place. Google Map is simply, making the car drive to that very latitude or longitudinal region, right? So that is what it is. The location of a place on the earth is mentioned in terms of latitudes and longitudes only. For example, as I said, it is written that New Delhi's location is 28° north, 77° east. So what are these? These are latitudes and longitudinal position of any place, which is undoubtedly extremely important for us to determine. Now, as I said that these are imaginary lines, means these are not real lines. Yes, these are not real lines. These are absolutely imaginary lines, right? Because you will not be finding any, latitudes or any longitudes passing nearby you. All right. Now, let's talk a brief about the latitudes, characteristics, and longitude. This is the end. Of course, after this, I'll switch off the class, because in this class, I want to give you the basic knowledge of what latitudes and longitudes are. So, if I talk about latitudes, these imaginary lines are, as I said, parallel to the equator. Is that clear? Two consecutive latitudes are always parallel to each other as well. For example, 1° latitude, 2° latitude, or 2° latitude, 6° latitude, they are parallel to each other, right? Okay. Equator is 0° latitude. You need to know this. This is an extremely important concept which often gets asked in your prelims paper as well, right? North Pole, if I talk about, this is 90° latitude. What was North Pole? Yes, this is North Pole around which the Earth was doing the revolution. What was South Pole? 90° south latitude. And the latitudes, for example, whether this be this latitude or this latitude or this latitude, they cover the whole circumference of the Earth. Is that clear? Now, let's come to the longitude. Longitude means from north to south pole, the imaginary lines are something like this. Now, remember that between two consecutive latitudes, the distance is maximum at equator. Just remember this, right? It is extremely important, right? So, these imaginary lines starts from North Pole, extends till South Pole. It is clear? No two longitudes are parallel. See, when the two lines are parallel, when the distance between each and every points are always equal, that is the situation of being parallel. But here, there is no parallelism, right? So that is why it is, they always intersect at North Pole and South Pole. We are observing, right? See, these two latitudes are intersecting at North Pole as well as South Pole, right? Distance between two consecutive latitudes is maximum at equator, 0 and pole. Dekho, in equator it is maximum, but in pole if you go, then it is 0. Right. Longitude range from 0° to 180°, and prime meridian is called 0°. For example, the equator was 0° latitude. Now, likewise, prime meridian is 0° longitude. Right. And international date line also passes through 180° longitude, because 180° longitude defines that the eastern side of the world at 180° latitude will be one day ahead of the western side. So, likewise, so that is what the logic behind the international date line is also. And regarding international date line, if you want to, if you want me to come up with a video, please write it in the comment section. Of course, I'll bring in one, wholesome video about what these international date line is. Till then, I hope that this was the class which has given you a bit of important knowledges. If you, like the class, then share it with other aspirants as well, and hit a like button to this video. Thank you guys. Thank you for this discussion.